The Prince of the Tides. There was once a kingdom not built on land, but on the ever-changing waves. The city of Eloria shimmered atop the sea, with towers of coral and streets of silver bridges that swayed with the tide. It was ruled by a boy king, Prince Kalin, who had been born with the ocean in his veins and the whisper of the waves in his ears. It was said that Kalin had never cried as a baby. Instead, when he was first placed in the royal cradle, the tide had risen unnaturally high, lapping at the palace walls as if welcoming its own. By the time he was old enough to speak, the sea answered him. Waves calmed at his voice, storms faltered when he raised his hand. His people called him the Prince of the Tides, and they believed he had been chosen by the ocean itself. But not everyone saw Kalin's gift as a blessing. Deep beneath the waves, hidden in the lightless trenches of the abyss, there was an ancient being, one older than time itself. It was known only as the Drowned King, a shadow that lurked in forgotten waters where ships went to sink and never return. And it had been watching Kalin since the day he was born. "You are not the ocean's master, boy." The voice of the Drowned King slithered through the currents one evening as Kalin stood on the edge of his floating kingdom. The water darkened beneath him, as if something vast and unseen lurked just below the surface. "You are its prisoner." The words haunted Kalin, echoing in his dreams. And the more he listened, the more he began to wonder, was the sea truly his to command? Or had it merely been waiting to claim him? One night, the tide rose higher than ever before. The ocean churned, restless and hungry, and the Drowned King's voice whispered again, "Come to me, Prince of the Tides. The sea has always been waiting for you." Against the warnings of his council, Kalin stepped into the waves. The water curled around his ankles, then his waist, then his chest, embracing him like an old friend. With a deep breath, he let it pull him under. For the first time, Kalin sank. Deeper and deeper he fell, past forests of glowing kelp and ruins swallowed by time, past creatures that had never seen the sun. And at the very bottom of the world, where even the waves could not reach, he saw it. A throne carved from the bones of ancient sailors, and upon it sat the Drowned King. Its form was shifting, a thing of shadow, tendrils of darkness twisting through the water like ink spilled in the current. Its eyes were endless voids, its voice the sound of drowning. "This throne was once mine," the Drowned King murmured, tilting its head. "But the sea has chosen you instead." Kalin looked around. In the eerie stillness of the abyss, he could hear the heartbeat of the ocean itself. He could feel the tides, the weight of the water, the power pulsing through the depths. And suddenly, he understood. The sea had never belonged to the Drowned King. It had never belonged to anyone. It was wild, untamed, free. And so was he. Kalin lifted his hand. The water shook, swirling around him like a storm. The Drowned King's form shuddered, its tendrils unraveling like mist in the current. "You were never the ruler of the sea," Kalin said softly, but Kalin no longer sought to command it. Instead, he let it be free, as he had chosen to be. And so, the Prince of the Tides became more than a ruler. He became a legend.